And in the UK, the Labour Party and the Conservative Party make their final push for Downing Street today before polling stations open tomorrow, with opinion polls showing the Conservative Party still in front with an average lead of 9.5 points. Well, let's talk to Juliana Olayinka from our London studios for more updates on this and other stories. Juliana, it's great to be with you on the show today. Tell us the latest as the parties cross their T's and dot their I's ahead of tomorrow's elections. Is the market still following the YouGov poll?
Well, good afternoon, Bissy. Nice to see you. Look, you know, the markets are all eyes are focused on the polls. Of course, we had the YouGov poll last night. YouGov is the most reputable pollster in the UK. They listen to the minds of about 100,000 people, and it still has the Conservative government, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, in the lead. But that lead is narrowing. That's really reacting on the markets. And there have been a number of other snap polls. And it does show that, you know, the Labour Party are really pushing back against the Conservatives. This is an election of a generation. It's very, very important. It is the Brexit election. So we know that both party leaders are crisscrossing across the country trying to get those undecided voters. But, you know, 326, that is the magic number. So even if Boris Johnson gets a majority, it's a working majority that he needs. And it is narrowing, and the markets are picking up on that. The FTSE All Share is down 0.37% at intraday. The FTSE 100 is down 0.24%, and the FTSE 250 is down by a whole 1%. That obviously looks at domestic, the FTSE 250. In currencies also as well, still on a high, but the British pound is down on the US dollar by 0.02%, up on the euro by 0.09%, and down on the Japanese yen by 0.03%. So what we're going to see, Bissy, tomorrow night at 10 o'clock when those exit polls come in is a big shock, really, at the markets, particularly Asia. Of course, Asia will just be opening. America will just be closing. Then, of course, all of the reacts on Friday morning in Britain, a lot to play for.
Well, we have a few hours to see what happens. Now, in other news, it looks like troubling times have hit two British household names. Yesterday, it was Ted Baker, and now advert agency Saatchi. Its founder, Lord Saatchi, and three independent directors have left the company. I remember you spoke to Chimmy about this in the morning as a company to watch today. Any updates on that?
Well, it's been a horrible year for M&C Saatchi. Since January, their shares have plummeted about 75%. Just last week, the bosses issued their second profit warning to shareholders in 3 months. And of course, they weren't happy about that. Some of the biggest issues that they're having is about this accountancy error. This has been dogging them for a series of months, but it's really hit the fan from last week. Apparently, they overstated the company's net profits by about £8.5 million. They've brought in auditors, PwC, to try and sort the situation out. But, you know, there has been a mass exodus. So what we've seen is three of their non-executive directors leave. And of course, Lord Saatchi has even left. He's even left his own company. So, yes, it's not great news. But, you know, the company said they will survive. They've got PwC in now. So they're going to try and turn around the reputation of this agency, which, of course, is one of the biggest agency firms in the world.
Oh, more troubling times as well for JD Sports. Its shares tumbled more than 8% in early trade, and that's after its top shareholder, Pentland, announced that it had cut its stake in the British sporting goods giant while retaining its position as a majority shareholder. What more can you tell us about this?
Well, a lot of people are shocked. Not many people know exactly what's going on because JD Sports, especially for our viewers in the UK, is a very popular brand. It's called the King of Trainers. Also, as well, boxing fans that would have watched Anthony Joshua, win his fight over the weekend would have seen that JD Sports was one of the biggest sponsors of that match. And also, in the first 6 months of the year, their profits have been up 45%. In the UK, they're all over the television with their celebrity endorsement adverts. So they're doing well, especially considering high street stores are really failing at the moment. But a couple of months ago, they did purchase a smaller brand called Foot Asylum for £90 million. And now the competition watchdog in the UK are looking into that purchase. They're not sure whether or not it was, JD Sports overtaking a very kind of, I would say, competitive sportswear industry. Mike Ashley of Sports Direct, he complained, saying that, JD Sports really are trying to take over everything. So CMA, the Competition and Marketing Authority, are really looking into that. And then, of course, we have seen that one of their biggest shareholders is offloading about 24 million worth of shares. So we presume that it's got something to do with this. So yes, shares were down in JD Sports this morning, but JD Sports are still doing very, very well, especially over Black Friday and this Christmas period. So I'm sure they'll be able to bounce back in a couple of weeks.
All right, Juliana, quite interesting there. Thanks for those updates. Jimmy, we'll be back with you tomorrow.
Thank you.
And major markets in Asia closed mixed on Wednesday, and that's ahead of the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rate decision due later in the day. The Shanghai Composite was up 0.24% to around 2,924.42. The Shenzhen Component, on the other hand, shed 0.64%, and the Shenzhen Composite also fell 0.44%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index rose about 0.8%. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 slipped fractionally to close at 23,391.86, while the Topix Index declined 0.34%, ending its trading at 1,714.95. South Korea's Kospi closed 0.36% higher, and Australia's S&P ASX 200 rose 0.68%, finishing its trading day at 6,752.6. And in the U.S., stock index futures were mixed this morning as investors wait to hear from the Federal Reserve. Earlier on, Dow futures dropped 15 points, but indicated a positive open of more than 14 points. Futures on the S&P and Nasdaq were both pointing to a slightly higher open as well. The Federal Reserve is expected to issue a statement on its latest monetary policy decisions later today. In its October meeting, the Fed decided to cut the Fed funds rate to a range of 1.5% to 1.75%. Well, still to come on the program, a Ghanaian entrepreneur makes history finding oil in deep water. Do stay with us.